Hey, Bibleholics, welcome to the podcast where we dive deep into the truths of the Bible and uncover the profound differences between cultural views and authentic biblical worldview. I'm Pastor Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today.
And I'm Megan Covington. Together, we're your guides on this incredible journey through Scripture, tackling tough questions, exploring timeless wisdom, and discovering how to live out our faith in today's world.
Whether you're a seasoned scholar or just beginning to explore your faith, this podcast is for you. Each week, we'll bring you in-depth studies, inspiring stories, and thought-provoking discussions that challenge the status quo and uncover the true meaning of God's Word.
We're not just about reading the Bible. We're about living it. Get ready for practical insights, powerful testimonies, and engaging conversations with special guests who share our passion for the truth.
So get comfortable and join us as we embark on an exciting adventure together. Remember to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
And don't forget to follow us on social media at Bibleholics Podcast Community Facebook group. We can't wait to connect with you. And remember to subscribe, listen, and stay Bibleholic. Welcome to the Bibleholics Podcast, uncovering truth, transforming lives.
Hey, all Bibleholics out there. We have a special guest today, Mr. Dr. Fairest Hill. Oh, sorry. He's a great man. I've actually got to know him a little bit recently. He's done a lot of work with Miles Monroe. He goes to schools. He's a motivational speaker, not just for kids though, but for adults also. He's a man among men, and we're going to find out a little bit about him today and a little bit about what's going on with his ministry and his life at this point. So we want to welcome Dr. Fairest Hill. How are you today?
Hey, Alexander, and I'm assuming this is your lovely wife, right?
Yes, this is my wife, Megan.
Hi, how are you?
Glad to meet you, my little sister.
Glad to meet you.
She's been waiting to meet you. She's just had time and hadn't been right.
Well, I done met the kids. You know, I feel like I met everybody else. So the kids are still singing. Reach a little higher, dig a little deeper.
We were at Walmart a little bit ago singing
it. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Walmart.
Okay.
Yeah, Megan said something about don't stop. So we just went at it and just sang the song, and it was awesome.
Wonderful. Well, it's good to be here with you all. You know, I live in Florida, so I'm an hour ahead of you guys. And so I was kind of waiting. I said I'm over 60 and I'm sitting there, I'm trying to keep my eyes open, you know.
I understand. Well, but like I said, this is a great opportunity for you right this second, because you have some things going on with your new release CD, or not CD, your new release song that is hitting the charts a little bit. I saw on YouTube it's gotten, 340 something views so far?
Well, you know what? As of a few minutes ago, it's up to almost 450.
Awesome.
Yeah. As a few minutes ago, probably 30 minutes ago, it's only been on there. Well, you know, Alexander, because you were the first one that told me it was on there. So I didn't know it was on there until you told me. You said it's on there. It's already they posted it. You know. Oh
yeah, but that was an interesting night, or that when we found out.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
So far, it's going out there. It's reaching some people. I know you said you were trying to push it a little bit more and trying to get into things. What is the end goal? So what do people need to do to go do that? So to follow you or find out more about that song right this second.
Well, real simple, Alexander. For the most part, let me just share this with people. So they can kind of understand. I am a recording artist, a musician. Years ago, if you heard of the band called the Gap Band, we had a hit song called "You Dropped the Bomb on Me," Burn Rubber Burn. Charlie Wilson was the lead singer of that group, and I had a chance to travel to do a tour with Charlie Wilson and the Gap Band, and then I had a chance also to do a tour with a group called New Edition. Now this is way back in the early 80s, and I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And make a long story short, I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I thought I was going there to travel with the Gap, because that's the Gap band is from Tulsa, Oklahoma. But then I ended up meeting some friends of mine at a Bible school there called Rhema in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Miles Monroe came to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I met Miles Monroe, and it changed my entire life. Okay. And so I went from traveling with the Gap to now standing in the Gap, speaking to over 1 million young people, mentoring over 5,000 young people. So to bring you up to date, what I do is, as a musician, I blend in music, motivation, and a PowerPoint presentation. So I take spoken word. I'm a writer of 4 different books. My last book is called Life Without Limits. And I take excerpts out of my book, and even things that I was taught by Dr. Miles Monroe. His phrase that everybody knows: the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but to be alive and not know why. When purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Your gift is what you bring to the table, but your purpose is what you leave in the room. So I took all of Miles Monroe, a lot of his affirmations, and I put it to this song called Step Into Your Greatness. It's only about a 3-minute thing, but it's just affirmation, positive affirmation, and just simple principles in this little song. And so we just released it, and it's on YouTube. So we encourage everybody to go to YouTube. It's no charge. Just grab the song, just get the song and put it out there, because there's another phrase that Dr. Miles Monroe says. Someone asked the question, what is the richest place in the world? And he's been all over Africa, some of the richest countries here in the world. And he said the richest place is the graveyard, because the graveyard is full of people who never stepped into their greatness. They never maximized their potential. And so the whole focus of this song, Alexander, is really to challenge people to dig a little deeper, to go a little further, to reach a little higher, because there's more in you. And I talk about in that motivational piece, I talk about that your life should be like the caterpillar that becomes the butterfly. The block of coal that becomes a diamond. And I talk about how your life should evolve. You should be getting greater. And of course, one of the other phrases in that song called good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better than your best. You're only as good as your last success. So that's all in that song. And Alexander, they need to go to YouTube, Dr. Fairest Hill, and they need to get that song right now.
And for everybody else, on the bottom of the screen, we actually have how do you reach Dr. Fairest Hill, his website, and contact information if anybody wants him to speak anywhere or do anything else at this point too. So we're going to have that scrolling periodically through this podcast, online, through the video, so you can reach him. He's a very good motivational speaker, y'all.
Thank you.
So let's talk about that for a second. So your journey and inspiration in this, you've inspired so many through your speaking and writing, right? I mean, the writing, we actually have one of the books right here.
Yeah, that's it. That's the first book. Yes.
So you've done all these things. You've inspired so many people. Can you share like a pivotal moment in your life that led you to pursue this path?
Yeah, well, the first moment, and I know this may sound kind of really stale, but people ask me all the time, how is it that I found my purpose of doing what I'm doing today? And it really started, the first thing is, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. And my first job, I worked as a janitor in a children's hospital. And I had no idea. I was about 19 years old. I had no idea that God would set me up for ministry. And what would happen is I would go and I would clean the rooms, and I would look at the babies fighting for their life. I would look at these little preemie babies, and they would have tubes, and I was just astounded by these little babies, and I would even start praying for the babies that they would live. And but then I would go to different places. There were kids in there who have been in fires, and kids with terminal diseases, and so I'm mopping the floor, and so I'm praying for these kids, and I had no idea that God was birthing a youth ministry in me in that hospital at 19. And I kept moving up because I was in business college, going for my business degree. And so I went from being a janitor until being an admitting clerk. And so now I got a chance. They come to me first, okay? And now I'm talking to the parents, and I'm back in the day. You know, we didn't have the computers like we had. We had the old typewriter. You had to type 70 words a minute, and so you had to type. You had to sit there. Okay, now tell me what's going on. Tell me. And you be typing while they're talking. And so I was admitting clerk, and I'm typing up all this about these kids, and so then I'm praying, and then I end up moving from the admitting to being a credit. I would be the credit clerk, where I would make sure all the finances and everything was in order, and so I'm spending time with these parents. So it got to the place that I started praying for them while they were in my office. I would pray. You know, and I would go up to the floors where they had the kids in the room, and I would pray. Now, Alexander, I'm gonna tell you this: I had no idea that I was gonna go into youth ministry. Even at that point, I'm just working a job because I wanted to be a CPA, and so I'm like, when I get my degree, I'm gonna be a CPA. But God was birthing ministry in me with those children. And so 30 years later, I'm here. But see, now I do it based upon there's such a need for it now. When I see what's going on with our young people today, there's such and because 70% of, especially of people of color, they have no fathers, and so there's that disconnect. So people like me and you, we become like the father's voice. We become like the father's voice to a lot of these children. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, my main long story short.
That's awesome. Like I understand that feeling of how when kids look up to you and they see you as a father, but you're not their father.
Yeah.
It's a heart thing for me, because when like one of the little neighbor kids, their father has some problems and he's not around. But they come here and spend time with my kids, and my kids told to come in. She came to the door. She hadn't seen me all day. She just said, I just wanted to say hi and give me a hug and go. And I'm like, oh, that just melts me away. But even when at the conferences with you, I see how some of these kids look, and it's like, it's a heart thing. I believe that's one of the reasons that you can keep doing this is because you see the change.
Yeah. And the other last thing with this, Alexander, is that kids mirror what they see. They model what they see, and the challenging thing that a lot of our kids is because of social media, because of broken homes and broken families, and just so they see that they grow up in that toxic environment. There's a phrase that I have, and I want you to hear this little phrase. There's a phrase that says it takes a village to raise a child. Okay, but I was thinking about that one day, and I said it takes a village to raise a child. But then the next thought came to me: what if the village is contaminated? What if it's contaminated? What if you have a village that's toxic and negative and bitter and judgmental? Kids model what they see, and that's why I have a phrase when I talk to parents. I tell them, I say, you teach what you know, but you reproduce who you are. Your kids, they listen to more of what you do than what you say. So that's why I believe people like me and you, we need more people to come in there and model, about good character, model about having conviction, model the word, model what God says, model the lifestyle that God wants you to have. And so that's why it's imperative that we do what we do, because a lot of our kids, they don't have that model in front of them. And you, as I said, you teach what you know, you reproduce who you are.
Megan, you had a question, Megan?
Yeah, but I've got Isabella back there who's like just bugging to tell him hi.
Bella, come here quick. Here, bud.
Put it in the other ear.
Other ear.
Other
Yeah.
ear.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, baby girl. Hello. This is Uncle for you is Uncle Ferris. Okay, remember that. For you is Uncle Ferris. You reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, go a little further, but don't stop. Okay, don't stop.
Okay, baby. Oh yeah, like I said, she started it when her mama said don't stop in Walmart. She's like, reach a little further, go a little. Like she was going. I was like, okay, let's go, let's do this.
Yes.
Okay, man.
Sometimes
This
it
is-
just pops in my head
yeah.
and I just sing it.
So this is, see, this right here is what you do.
Yes.
She met you at the youth camp,
Yes.
Well, she met him at church.
at church
first.
once, but at the youth camp too. But you put something in them
Yes.
that keeps going.
Wonderful.
So for the people that don't understand, don't know you or haven't been to these things, or even parents that have heard of you because they weren't there when you saw the kids,
Yeah.
it leaves an impact,
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah.
that's what I like to hear. Okay, Megan, what was the question you had, baby?
So, how has your faith influenced your work as a motivational speaker, and how do you integrate spiritual teachings into your message, especially like going into the public schools and stuff?
Well, two things, and I can answer that very quickly. I would have to really say that if my faith and my beliefs in the Lord was not there, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I couldn't. I couldn't. I mean, He is my source. I mean, He's the breath that breathes through me. He's the reason why. I mean, because I always say that, you know, without the Lord, you'll never truly discover your purpose. And He is the reason. I mean, He's the why I do what I do. And because even as a motivational speaker, I mean, I know this may be hard for people to believe. It's almost like a pastor. You know, you're always challenged, even as a speaker. You know, so the enemy. In fact, I always say that if you're a believer, you know, there's a bullseye on your back. You know, and especially if you're a leader or a teacher or a pastor, there's a bullseye on your back. The enemy is going to challenge what you believe. He's going to challenge your faith. You know, and there's been some places that I went to that I can be on here for the next 45 minutes to tell you about the bad experiences that I've had in the 30 years. I've had a lot of bad. I've had some experiences that made me want to go back to Detroit and work in the hospital again, you know, or even admit myself in a hospital. Okay. So
Yeah, I get that.
yeah, you can't have the message, and let me make that really clear. You cannot have the message without the attack. I always say you got to have a tambourine in one hand, and you got to have a sword in the other hand. You rejoicing on one side, but you're fighting on the other side. They both come together. You don't just get one; you get both.
Right.
You get both together, and that's why your faith is crucial. Your faith is your foundation. Hey, then no matter what, no matter what, the Bible says in this life you shall have trouble, but He says, "Be of what? Good cheer." He said, "Because I've overcome them all." So in life, somebody need to hear that. In life, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have challenges. He says, but be of good cheer. So when you put your faith in the fact that when Jesus says it's done, it's finished, He has won the battle for you. He's won the battle for you. Now, you still got to go through the process. But in the end, if you keep your faith in Him, you will truly win. Now, the second question that you asked about going into the schools, how do we do? One of the things the Lord, he I'm gonna get this right here. I want somebody to get this. He said, never underestimate my presence in you. So when you go, you take my presence in there with you. You didn't get to the school and say, okay, Jesus, I'm gonna leave you outside the door and I'm gonna walk in by myself. No. So when you walk in, the Holy Spirit walked in there with you. Jesus, Father, all of heaven walked in there with you. So you have a great cloud of witnesses. So when you walk in, you are covered by the blood of Jesus. The anointing is on you. Now, you may not be able to go in there with a big Bible and say, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Because I've gone to some schools, and before I even started, the administrator said, now, Dr. Hill, now we know you, we know who you are. We know who you are. But you can't come up here and say Jesus here. We can't do the Jesus thing. We can't do the Jesus thing. And I just look at him, I say, Jesus is in me. He's in me. He's in me. And now I'm gonna honor your rules, because when you with Caesar, you honor what Caesar does. I mean, that's the rules of the house. So you honor that. But I think it's a way of bringing about the gospel in a way that that you're not compromising, but you're being very relevant, using what I call godly principles, to be able to help people.
So that's awesome. He's using the positivity, the moving forces of everything else, not always having to say his name, but he's there.
Amen. Another thing I'll do is, before the kids walk in, I'll play worship. I'll just feel the atmosphere. I'll just feel it. Sometimes I'll go into an auditorium. I'll just start walking and lay hands on the chairs. So Lord, when I'm with, and then another thing I love is that, and the principals don't know I'm doing it, but when I'm touching those kids, like when I'm walking and they come up and hugging me, and I'll put my hands and lay hands on their head, and I'm releasing God's presence, just releasing it because it's in me. So I release what's on the inside of me, and it's a good thing.
Oh, it's an amazing thing. I mean, we've heard stories about teachers who did witchcraft, who would sit there and throw darts at the kids while they were at quiet time, spiritual darts, but they also realized that the ones that were getting prayed for and the ones that knew how to pray, they couldn't hit.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So even you going in and even doing that is actually protecting those kids.
Exactly.
So many forces.
Exactly. I just think that God's people need to be present in every arena, whether it be the sports arena, whether it be the political arena, whether it be the school arena, community, God's people, because we are what I call agents of change. We are agents of change, and things are not going to change until the Christians are there in those places, and not just there, but with a voice.
Oh, I believe that. Amen.
Yeah, and that's why what you're doing is good with your podcast. It's a wonderful thing, my brother. It is a wonderful. Keep you and your wife keep it going, because we need to continuously keep putting it out there in the atmosphere. Because there's some people that may not be on right now, but they'll come back and listen another time. You have no idea.
Oh yeah.
I remember I told you I used to do coffee talk. We talked about that.
Right.
I used to do coffee talks, and it was like a 15-minute program that I would do every Saturday morning with coffee, and I had so many people who, even now, because I got YouTubes on it, people would go back and say, "Man, I saw you on Coffee Talk," So what you're doing is good, and it's definitely necessary.
All right, well, thank you very much. We just try to do our part.
God told us to do this years ago, and we just never did it.
Yes.
We weren't obedient right when he told us.
Yes.
But we finally broke down and said, okay, we're doing this.
Indeed.
You're right. People come on later, watch things. We've seen an increase after the podcast shows. We've seen an increase when we do put it on audio and other platforms. So people are listening. Yes.
Well, I'm glad. Well, I want to say to your wife, your husband really talks about you. Okay. He really, he said, I'll do nothing without my wife. I got to check with my wife. Whatever I do, we do it together. And I that really blessed me when you said that, brother. I love that. I love that, because not every man can say that. That means you believe in her, but more so than that she believes in you, and that's good.
Yeah. And she believes in me more than any woman has ever had, except for maybe my mother. I can't tell you. I can't tell which one beats. They're like even. But yeah, that's why when we started this podcast, we started with marriage.
Okay.
And we did a whole thing on marriage. We did one on dating. We've done it on singleness. Like we've hit some topics that even biblically people don't hear anymore.
Yes. Yes. That's good, brother. That's good. That's good. Hey, while you say, let's put our shout out to Pastor Zach Mitchell. We love you, Pastor.
Yeah.
One of the greatest pastors in the world. I just love that man. If you're ever in the New Iberia, Louisiana area, you must go to Pastor Zach. That's New Hope, right? That's New Hope.
Word of hope.
Word of hope. Word of hope. I don't like that New Hope. Word of hope. Okay.
Because you had a new hope when you went.
Amen.
No, he is an amazing man.
Yeah.
He has helped me through some things and helped my family through some things just by talking and some spiritual things that we were still growing and learning with. I how do I say I don't worship the man, I worship God, but I believe that God does a lot of mighty things through him, even when he doesn't realize it.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what it is? It's like with the statement you just made. You know, we worship God, and we honor His man. We honor. You know, and I've been talking about honor all day. I've been just that word has just you know, because the Bible talks about honor. You know, and in the Ten Commandments, you know, of course, honor the Lord your God, and you know, but there's a thing about when you honor other people. You know, I am the man I am today because I honored my pastor for 30 years. I honored Dr. Miles Monroe, my mentor, for more than 30 years. And so favor comes by honor. And the more you honor, the more God favors you. It's like when your kids honor you. When they honor you, you know, now when they don't honor you, then that favor is lifted. you know, they see another side of you, you know, when they don't honor you. But we honor Pastor Zach, and he is just such a blessing.
Yes,
No,
absolutely.
he absolutely is. So let's see. You have a big like community impact everywhere as you go. Okay, that's what I see, and that's just in New Iberia. I don't know where all the other places you've been, how impactful you've been, but so we know you've been involved in all these community things, and so can you share like a particular story or project or individual that had the significant impact on you?
You mean someone who had impact on me?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, I would have to say, I mean, there's been a number of people who have truly had um, an impact on me, especially when I go overseas. I mean, when I go to third world countries, I am more blessed of, you know, because I was just in the Philippines for 10 days. I have a spiritual son over there in near Manila, in a city called Cebu City, and how he works with a lot of orphans, and that's his church. His church is nothing but little orphan kids, and he has very little money, very little bit of anything, but he is so committed to these orphan kids. And the same way in Africa. I was over in Nigeria, and I you know, I was with another pastor there. He had about 100 kids who were orphan kids, and I mean, they're in a building with no air condition. You know, buildings. Some of them don't even have a door or windows to the buildings, but I'm more impressed and more impacted for people who have very little, but they've got big hearts and they're doing a lot. And so those are the things that are really you know, those guys have really, and I can go because I travel so much. I mean, I was in Africa for about a month. I went to Kenya, and I went to Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Uganda. I mean, a lot of those different countries. And I went over to Mexico, and I got a friend over there who just, the hearts are just for young people, and they make very little bit of money, but their heart is in what they do, and I'm more impressed with that. That's what really really impressed me. But one of the things that really um, really has made an impact on my life is when I've gone into a school and I befriended a gang banger. And I've had that happen where guys who were hardcore gang bangers, and all I did was just love them and speak the truth. And I've seen them turn around, um, uh, who was part of my mentorship program. And I've seen that caterpillar become a butterfly. Um, I have one story here. His name is Wiley, and he's in Missouri, and a very rural area. And Riley was in one of my classes, and I was talking about believing in yourself and knowing your value and feeling good about yourself. And Riley raised his hand and he says, what do you think about suicide? And I just shocked, it shocked me. What do you think about suicide? And here's this 13-year-old kid asking me, what do you think about suicide? And of course, the kids start laughing. Are you crazy, man? Talk about suicide. He jumped up and ran out of the room. And I had somebody run and get him. And I talked to Riley. I talked to him about the value of his life. You know, where does this suicide thought came from? And he was just said, I've been thinking about suicide. And I really just talked to him. And I remember leaving the class wondering, I don't even know if I got to this kid. Well, on the weekend, I get a phone call early morning, and this is this guy, the kid calling me on the phone. And I'm like, what are you doing calling me on the phone? How did you get my number? He says, I went online and I looked you up. I was like, oh my God, you know. And to make a long story short, he told me, he says, Dr. Hill, no one has talked to me the way you have. You have made such an impact in my life. I had to call you on a Saturday morning to tell you you've made an impact. That young kid now has graduated from high school. He called me probably about a month ago. He went into the military. He just got home from being in the military. That's the kind of stories that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Guy on one end contemplating suicide, and 5 years later, you know, he done graduated from high school in the military, and now he's back home. And now he called me the other day. He said, Dr. Hill, I want to travel with you. I want to travel with you. And I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna set it up that he can come and travel with me. But it's stories like that. And I can give you many, many stories of kids' lives who have been changed just through love. You know, one of the things I say is that you know, you don't have to tell them how bad they are. They know how bad they are. You know what I'm saying? What they need is they need people to love them unconditionally. They need unconditional love. Don't judge them, but love them and be patient and let the process take care of itself.
Oh, that's amazing. See, I love stories like that too. And you've hit my heart in a couple of areas.
Yeah.
One, because of Africa.
Yeah.
In other places, because they're not like this Western world.
Yeah.
They have a heart that is truly for the Lord. Unlike a lot of the Western culture here has gotten it's how do I say it's watered, diluted, or over here a lot more. But then turning around, somebody who was thinking of suicide hit me so much because it's actually a tattoo on my arm that it's a cross and has the name Chris on it. It says "Simple is Beautiful." It's from a buddy of mine who passed away. He committed suicide at the age of 15. And me, another one of my buddies and my little sister, because we're good friends, got our first tattoos of almost the same cross and same thing, because on top of it, in his suicide note, he wrote "Simple is Beautiful." On top of that cross is simple. It says on my arm, "Simple is Beautiful," to always remind me that to simply just reach out to everybody. Because people who are in those times and that mindset, they don't understand what the beauty really is. They don't understand what their worth is or other people's worth is anymore. So it hit me hard because it's something that I've dealt with, where I'm not gonna lie, it was the time I tried to commit suicide too. Thank God it didn't happen. He protected me yet again. But there's so many people out there who are hurting that don't know where to turn or what to do anymore. And that's amazing that you can reach some of those kids and change the lives forever. And as far as getting that guy to go on the road with you, yes, you need some help.
You after you saw me on Sunday, you say you need some help. You definitely need some help. Oh yeah, man. Because even I drove 10 hours to get there, and then I drove 10 hours on Sunday, come back, man. I was so wasted. I'm surprised I'm here with you on this broadcast, man, because I was just so tired. And I'm really just kind of, and here's the thing, I leave Thursday and I come back to Louisiana. I'm coming back there. I got a staff development on Friday. And so I do a turnaround trip and come back. But when you're called to do something, you do it. And I'm sitting there saying, okay, Lord, I need the help now. I've done it. I've had that season of doing it by myself, but now I need some reinforcement.
Oh yeah, not just that. I mean, like the crowd we had Sunday was just massive. And I know you probably at schools, our crowds are always massive. You can't always look and see who needs extra attention or anything else all the time. Having that backup helps out a lot more than anybody can imagine.
Yes, it does. And so, but yeah, help is on the way, man. And once again, I want to thank you and your wife for what you're doing, and y'all just continue on.
Megan, do you have a question?
Yeah, so you've authored several books. Can you tell us about one of your books that holds a special place in your heart and why? Also, you write a lot of music too. Is there any special songs that you feel the same way about, like with your book?
Well, those two of those questions. Go ahead, Alexander.
No, I wouldn't say so. So that those questions are interesting. The one book I have is very good.
Mm-hmm.
There's the ABCs to Success is a good book, and it has so much different things in it that can help so many people. But I know there's a few other books out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there. I have 4 books that I've written. The ABCs of Success was the first book, and for those who may not have that book, it's a good, simple, easy read book, and it talks about the 5 words: attitude, behavior, concentration, determination, and education. Those simple 5 words. And we just expound on that. But it's a good book, especially if you have young ones in elementary school. It's a good book, and talk about having a positive attitude versus a negative attitude. And so that's my first book. But my second book is the one that's probably most dear to me. I'm gonna tell you why. It's called Daddy Talk. Daddy Talk, and the chapters that's in there talked about the power of positive speaking. It has another chapter called positive parenting in challenging times. So it's a good chapter in there to talk about parenting, because parenting is the only, I would say, and you probably know this as a parent is the only let me see how to say, parents is the only title or position that you get that you don't go to school for. You don't get a license. You know what I'm saying? You're parenting. You learn as you go. You it's like throwing something against the wall and see if it's gonna stick or not.
Yeah.
All right, I got 5 and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that second book, Daddy Talk, is one of my favorite, because it has a chapter on this that says, "Teach me how to be a man," and because my father passed away when I was very young, so I grew up without a father. So I really didn't know what it was to be a man, because I didn't have that model there in front of me. So that's why I wrote that chapter. Teach me what it is to be a man. I had to learn, and that's why I'm glad I had Miles Monroe and my pastor, men like that, who had to teach me, because I had no idea what it was to really be a man. I knew back in the day how to be a player, but I didn't know what it was. Yeah, Alexander, you know what I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't know
Well, I
what I'm
know
talking
exactly what you're talking about.
about. Don't act like what I'm talking about. I know you in love with your all that, but all of us had to go through that player.
Oh yeah.
So that's my favorite book. It has a chapter on to teach me how to be a lady of class. That our girls need to be taught what it is to be a lady, a lady of distinction, a lady of character. So that's my favorite book. Of course, I have another book called Life Without Limits. And Dr. Miles Monroe, some of his sayings are in that book. It talks about stepping in your purpose, maximizing your potential, next level thinking. And then my last book is called A God Moment. And it's just a wonderful moment of just a lot of scriptures of people who had God moments, that like Paul on the road of Damascus, who had a God moment, Mary, the mother of Jesus, who had a God moment, the lady with the issue of blood, who had a God moment. I mean, I can go on and on and on. People who had God moments that changed the course of their life. So that's my fourth book, called A God Moment.
I like that one. I'm gonna have to get that one.
Yeah, you got to get. Yeah.
But you said that the first one was good for elementary kids, but I'm gonna say something else. It's not good. That's not just good for young kids.
Yes.
It's practically good for adults too.
Yes.
There's a lot of things we still need to read, and it'll help enlighten you, adults, as well.
Yes. I agree with that, because working on your attitude is a process. Because I mean, because your attitude can change, especially based upon events and circumstances. There's some things that even as a motivational speaker that I don't like about myself, that change over a period, just and it actually changed with age. Where there used to be things that I was. And one of the things the Lord is working with me on is patience. And I used to have a lot of it, but I got older and I started running out of patience.
Patience is hard anyway.
I'm like, where did all the patience go? I could wait all day, but now I'm like, look, if you go do it, hurry up.
So I know. So what is your future vision at this point? Like, looking ahead, what are some of your goals or projects that you're excited about, or how do you see your work evolving in the future?
Well, what I see now, two things. In 2 years, I know what I'm going to say sounds really crazy. In 2 years, it would be 40 years that I have been on the road. 40, okay? And so I'm asking the Lord to allow me to have 2 more years. Every year gets tougher. I mean, it just, driving up and down that road, it gets tougher. And so I still see myself, I'm really going to push it hard with this new CD, Step Into Your Greatness. And I'm in the studio recording 5 more songs, and we just continue to release single after single. In fact, that Step Into Your Greatness is going to be on 300 radio stations this month. So we're really getting it out there. So what I'm really looking to do, Alexander, within this year, next year, is really to, I really, if somebody had to tell me what I was doing, I'd call it my legacy tour. Right now, I believe that I'm in the season of fulfilling destiny and legacy. And what I want to do is I want to have my own center. That's why I'm believing for a grant writer to write a grant, that I can have my own Life Without Limits center, that now I can teach and train other mentees to become mentors. So that's what I like to do. I like to train 50 other leaders, and that way I can begin to duplicate myself and what I'm doing, and send them out. And so I can be the mastermind to, training and releasing. Right now, I've been the one who's been in the car, driving, doing doing the seminars. But I believe that I'm coming into, and I believe it's going to happen by next year. I'll be doing more training than traveling.
So in other words, you're saying it's about to be 40 years in the desert, and now you want some time out of the desert in the peace land, just training.
I don't want to call it the desert, brother. I don't want to, brother. That's a hard word, the wilderness or the desert. That's a hard word, because I've had a happy ride, man. I have had a happy. If this is the desert, then I would hate to see what the oasis is like, because I have, I've had fun, man. It has been wonderful. It has been great. But I just think that, when I talk about that metamorphosis, evolving, there comes a time where you begin to pass the baton, and I don't want to be like, and I hate to say it, I hate to use the analogy like Biden. Biden trying to hold on, and everybody, everybody was telling him to quit. He was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna go on. I can feel like I can do another 4 years." And it was like everybody said, that ain't no way he gonna be able to do another 4 years. But he was trying to hold on, and until he came to himself. I don't know who hit him in the head. Somebody had to hit him in the head and said, "Biden, you need to quit." So. So I don't want to. I want to do what I'm doing, what I have the strength, and then I want to be able to pass on. But Alexander, I see you doing motivational speaking, bro. I really see it.
It wouldn't be far-fetched.
Man, I see you doing it, man. I see you. One of the things I love about you, because first of all, you love people. I mean, you love God. You love people. You're a family man, and you got a lot to say. I mean, you got a lot to say, and I can tell just watching you when we did the summer camp and even Sunday. I mean, the kids love you. I mean, they love you, and that's part of it. Can you identify? Can you connect? I tell people all the time, I don't care how old you are, can you connect? Kids, they're more impressed with the fact of that you care than what and I think you could do it, my man. I'm ready for you to come on out, man.
Like I said, it wouldn't be far-fetched, because when I look at kids and I smile, I look and I talk on their level, and that way it has that connection, and they're like, oh, well, maybe I could just open up to this person. And even adults, I mean, honestly, just come up to me and open and give me all their problems on me just to vent or talk, and then they're like, okay, now what do you think? I'm like, oh Lord, give me the right words.
yeah
But it's always been good. And like I said, it wouldn't be too far-fetched, because I've done some speaking, just as given some sermons here, a couple of sermons as a pastor or something, and things like that. So it's not difficult. The hard, and honestly, that doing the youth camp with you and at church one Sunday with you, when you pulled me up and put the mic in my face and said sing, and I'm like, okay.
I didn't know you had it in you. I put the microphone in. I said, "Oh, this little brother, he got a little something." So he been in the back eating some collard greens and cornbread. He got a little soul on the inside. But yeah,
there's more soul here than people know.
Yeah.
Yes. But man, it's been good being with you all. I'm gonna get off here in a few months. I don't think I've ever talked to anybody this long. But time goes by when you're having fun, and but yeah, I once again, Alexander, let's encourage them to go get that song, "Step Into Your Greatness." It's on YouTube, and let's encourage them to do that, because it will truly be a blessing to them.
Okay. Well, we were going to end anyway in just a minute, but our thing is that we want to tell people right now. The whole broadcast we've been having your website going on the bottom,
Okay.
and phone number to reach you, to book you, and find out more about you.
Okay.
So if anybody still wants to, they can get the website, drfairesthill.com.
Mhm.
You can even call the number, or look for it on the website. Call and book him, and see what's going on with the music, and hear some of his motivational speaking. See how he changes children in this world, and not just children, but adults. Yet again,
Thank
and as we tell everybody, we have this little saying that we do since we named this podcast Bibleholics.
Mhm.
Me and my wife believe that we have to tell everybody at the end. So what, Megan?
Subscribe, listen, and stay Bibleholic.
Yeah, subscribe, listen, stay Bibleholic.
I love
Dr.
that. I
Dr.
love
Ferris, thank you for coming on. Actually, I need you to. I got a crying baby. I need you to actually send me your email address. I have some things to send you about booking on some other podcasts and
Okay.
getting you on some other things right now.
Okay, wonderful. Well, my email is going to be my name again, Fairest Hill, at instead of AOL, it's IOL, and then it's 14.com, IOL4.com. Okay,
All right.
fairesthill.com. So yeah, they can email me, and my phone number is there, 813-478-6961. That's 813-478-6961. You will get my voice. It goes directly to me.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
You got it. Thank you. Good to meet you, little sister.
Good to meet you. I'll probably see you Sunday.
Yes, I may be there. And in fact, yeah, Pastor Zach and I are talking. I may be there on Sunday. We may make that happen. I continue to do my message call, Stay on the Path. Okay?
Which is great because it's also one of my kids' birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we must celebrate at the Dairy Queen. Okay.
All right. Nice talking to you, Dr. Ferris. We'll see you soon.
You got it. God bless.